Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. I'm James, and today we're going to talk about Lewis Dodgson. Who is Lewis Dodgson? Some of you might ask. Well, Lewis Dodgson is a big character from the books. He's the main villain from both the first book and the second book, Jurassic Park: The Lost World. Now, we've only seen Lewis Dodgson in the first movie for a small cameo at the start, which kind of portrayed him as a villain, but then it kind of went away. We never really saw anything else, and after Dennis Nedry's death, we don't really know what happened when it comes to his side of the story. He doesn't even mention Biosyn. So the only reason Biosyn has come up, which is the company that Lewis Dodgson is the CEO of, is due basically down to the novels. If you haven't read the novels, then you don't know who Lewis Dodgson really is. So the fact that he's coming back to the movie in the Jurassic World Dominion, he's going to have to get brought in a certain way to make the current generation of moviegoers that haven't read the books understand who this man is. By the way, do you like my t-shirt? I like this whole camo look. I think it's pretty cool. Anyway, back to the topic. Okay, so you've got to look at how he can get brought into the film. There are many different ways. All of them are great ideas. I've been listening to a lot of fans on Twitter, on Facebook, and in my group chat, and we've all got some brilliant ideas. But the problem, I think, with making movies these days is that you've got to meet the criteria for everyone. It's great if you're a big hardcore fan, probably like me, like my co-host Steve, and like a lot of our friends in the Jurassic Park community. Like, we always want the history. We like the heritage of the origin of Jurassic Park brought into these films. It's just something that we hold dear to us. But you've also got to meet the needs of the general audience, who probably don't really care about Lewis Dodgson and what happened back in 1993. So whatever they do, it has got to be done well enough that it makes sense. And this isn't just a bit of fan service, it's got to have some purpose. Now, one of these sort of thoughts that has crossed my mind is, could Lewis Dodgson could he have been in that auction room in Fallen Kingdom? Or could he have had a representative in that auction room? Because you've got to think, Lewis Dodgson, if he's the CEO of a major corporation, Biosyn, another genetics company, how is he going to make dinosaurs without Henry Wu? How is he going to do it? Because Henry Wu is the chief geneticist at Jurassic Park. He had a good relationship with Hammond. Even in Jurassic World, Masrani says Hammond isn't there to protect you this time. So that is a kind of hint that Hammond was a really close friend of Henry Wu's and give him his opportunity to, express himself. So Dodgson, to me, I don't think he has been working with Henry Wu. So leading on from there, with Henry Wu is quite proud of his accomplishments, and he didn't like the idea of the Indoraptor being sold when it wasn't ready. It's his work at the end of the day. He's got to give the best he can. So, but doesn't mean that Dodgson wasn't either in that room off screen or didn't have a representative in that room. Even the guy that says 20 millions. We don't even know. That could have been someone working for Dodgson, for all we know. You could have had him in his earpiece or something like that. That sort of type of thing could be easily written in. It's plausible. It's a safe bet. It could easily be the safest way they could do it for it to make sense, And that way, Dodgson would then get a living animal, could extract the DNA from the open source that Henry Wu was worried about, reverse engineer it, and make his own versions. That's when it comes to that vision, that sort of opinion. Now, another one is he could get brought in, possibly to give him a bit more of a villainous, rather than just someone that you're up against, you know, competing with. Make him a bit more villainous. Could he have been responsible for Maisie's mother's death? We don't know what happened to Maisie's mother. She went to the park as a child, a bit like, and I think that's probably where Maisie stemmed her fascination with the place from. It's almost like really, really, really wanting to go somewhere and never actually being yourself, like being, you know, hearing stories your whole life and just you want nothing more than to go to this place. And she never actually got to go. And I wouldn't be surprised if there is a relationship, some form of connection between Dodgson and Maisie's mother. That's not my opinion. It's just something I've heard among the community, which I thought, okay, that sounds actually quite a good one. I like that idea. It brings in the story of Maisie's mother and what actually happened to her on the park, or how she really died. It could be quite dark. It really could be quite dark if Dodgson is responsible for her death. It could be really dark. And it's just basically, it would work. It'd mean a lot of more backstory, which the only other problem I'm worried about is that I don't think with a 2.5 hour movie, which is probably going to be likely, it's going to likely be 2.5 hours, we can't afford to have a huge in-depth backstory, because we still need to progress the story on that we're already going into, you know, almost following on from the short film, that Big Rock. And you got the old cast returning. You've got also Lowry and Omar Sy's character Barry. They're coming back. They need to have some screen time. So, as much as I'm really, really excited about this Dodgson, they need to do it in a way that's subtle, that kind of, you know, brings you in a plausible way. Now, one of the things that I've been thinking about is a flashback. Now, a lot of the fans are interested in a flashback idea, and possibly having a reconnection with Dennis Nedry, getting Wayne Knight, not necessarily on screen, because you'll be able to tell that, you know, he's a lot older. 25 years has now passed. He won't look like the same character. So the de-aging thing, it costs a lot of money, a lot of time, which they don't have. So it'll be more of a case of something subtle, like a phone call. You know, Dodgson would be talking to Wayne Knight, he's a real actor, actually doing the lines, but on a phone call sort of thing. So we know that who that is, and it'll be a great nod. And we could also get like almost, it could be a way to reintroduce a Dilophosaurus as well, in like an opening scene or something really cool like that. But kind of segueing into that, if we use this opening, a Dodgson reintroduction in an opening scene would be a good way to go about it. And the reason why I think that could be is because it sets the tone of the movie. If Dodgson is reintroduced, possibly linking something from the past, it could set the tone to be a dark movie. And his character, like Eli Mills, I thought was a very good villain. He's the first person to ever murder anybody on screen. In fact, he's probably the first actual villain we've ever had in the franchise. We've had people that are a bit more, you know, antagonistic, I guess you could class Nedry as a villain, but he was really only out for himself. He wasn't out to hurt anybody else. Ludlow just, I guess Ludlow was a little bit of a villain, but he wasn't a murderous person. He was just a businessman that thought he knew better than Hammond and thought he could do a better job. Masrani, I actually generally thought Masrani was quite a nice guy from his persona in the film. I thought he really liked what he was doing and being in charge of Jurassic World. And Hoskins is just someone that worked. He was just a leader of a group of soldiers in InGen, and I think there was a bit more behind the scenes with Hoskins. I wouldn't be surprised if he had a connection with Biosyn somehow, and maybe was working as a spy. I don't know. That's completely going off topic. But one thing's for sure, Dodgson would have been a complete idiot if he didn't put a tracker beacon inside that cryo can.